You're fighting Anderson Silva in your next fight. Most of your losses are to submission. I don't think you can stand with them. I think it's a bad matchup for you. How do you think that fight's going to go?
Well, I've heard of you. Now, I didn't know I'd ever meet you, but ladies and gentlemen, this is Anderson Silva's fan. I heard that he had one. Greetings. I didn't know I'd see you. I thought it was like absolute zero or the fifth dimension. I would never see it in my lifetime. But welcome to Vancouver. And to answer your question, every fight I've ever lost is by submission. So you bring up a very fair point, and I also don't think I can stand with him, but I assure you I do not have to.
Chael, I've never seen anyone like Anderson Silva clown around in the octagon that much. What are you going to do if he starts doing that again like he did against Demian Maia?
You know, I really don't know. That would be uncharted waters for me. I've never had anybody do that in practice. I've never had anybody do that in a fight. And it's a good possibility. I truthfully don't know if he does that, but a lot of that's his mystique. A lot of that moving, or what you refer to as clowning, is what he uses for a setup. You know, I think he's a pretty good striker, but I think he's an awesome setup guy. He moves around, you don't see it coming, and then he reaches out and hits you. So in training camp, you know, I'm working to not fall for that. He's got a lot of movements. You can't pay much attention to those.
Incredible. Right. But what, for submissions, Anderson Silva's pretty good at submissions. What's your answer to that?
Well, you know, again, I really don't know until we get in there. I can only attempt to speculate. So I look at it, and I agree, when you get him down, you're not exactly out of the woods either. He's pretty good down there. He's got a black belt under the Nogueira brothers. I think a black belt under the Nogueira brothers is saying I got a free toy in my Happy Meal. I don't really understand what the big deal is. One of them's a punching bag, and the other one I just ignore. He's really irrelevant, but you know.
On Twitter, you said Ed Soares should go praise his Savage Band of Pygmies. Were you talking about Black House as like a fight club, or what were you talking about there?
Well, let's start from the beginning. I do not have a Twitter account.
Okay.
But I am familiar with the line. People have asked me about this line, and the only thing that bothers me about that entire line, aside from the whole thing being confusing, I couldn't completely dissect it, was the fact that the guy that wrote it only said Ed. It would be very arrogant for Ed Soares to think he's all of a sudden become like Cher or Prince, and his one name of Ed refers to him. But then again, he's the world's most famous interpreter. Somehow he even got himself into the video game, so I really don't know.
We know you want it on the floor, right? And there's also a possibility that you can't get it there, right? So what happens then? Are you prepared, do you feel, if you can't get it to the floor, to fight Anderson where he's comfortable, not where you're comfortable?
If Chael Sonnen cannot get it to the floor, Chael Sonnen gets his ass kicked. Yeah, you know, that's really it. Look, there's not a plan B. He doesn't have one either. He's got to keep it standing up, and I got to throw him down. I got 2 national championship plaques on my wall that says I can take him down, okay? I got a silver medal from the World Championships in 2001 that says he can't stop me from taking him down. If he's got an answer to it, then God bless him. I don't think about it. I don't issue apologies. If people get their feelings hurt, too bad for them. I'm going to go out and do my job. And I don't mean that I'm insensitive and want to upset anybody. That's not what I mean. But I'm not going to sit there and look at the polls or ask a focus group. I'm just going to go out and speak. That's it, you know, and this is a one-sided dance. I saved Anderson's job. Uncle Dana was going to give him his walking papers, and I begged him, keep him around. Keep him around for one more fight. I will retire this guy. I am now hyping this fight single-handedly. There's no help from Anderson Silva. You know, I've been telling people for a while now, Anderson Silva speaks English. He just refuses to speak to his fans. I just saw an interview with Ariel Helwani and Anderson Silva, and it was a crack-up. It was great. They're going back and forth. Anderson's doing a good job. He's saying funny things. Ariel Helwani asked Anderson Silva about the fight with Demian Maia, and all of a sudden it's Si Habla Espanol. Where's Ed at? Right? So it's the one-man show, but at the same time, you know, look, this isn't a fight that's going to be tit for tat. People say, Chael, you're getting ready for war. Guys, this isn't going to be a war. This is going to be a one-sided pounding, and I'm swinging the hammer. Well, first off, I stuck my finger in his chest, and second, he speaks English, so I'm not sure if it's a mind game, but I am outing the guy. You know, I've had it. He's a fraud. It's kind of like he gets in the ring and he likes to bow. He doesn't come from a bowing culture. If you bow in Brazil, they'll hit you over your head and take your wallet and walk off laughing. This guy's a fraud, so he comes out, he bows. He wants to be everybody's good buddy, and as soon as the cage door shuts, he's a killer, and that's just fine. I'm the same way. I'll smile to his face. If he turns his back on me, I'll stick a knife on it, and I'll walk away without even cleaning up the mess. So me and Anderson are on the same page. But as far as what you said, listen, that's true. I've called him out for 4 years, and I called Rich Franklin out for 2 years before that. Okay, this is my time. Secondly, he does speak English, and I can prove it. It's called YouTube. You know, my stand-up skills, I don't know. You know, there's a saying in fighting, and it's really true. 80% of the fights go to the ground, but 100% of the fights start standing up. So, you know, I'm going to throw him on his back and beat a hole in his face, but until I can do that, I'm going to have to stand up there on our feet. And I've been at that a long time. I don't have illusions of going and competing in professional boxing or something like that. But I can fight on my feet. I know what I'm doing there. You know, the best athlete I've ever seen, any sport, from gymnastics, basketball, Michael Jordan, Roy Jones, doesn't matter, is GSP. But
that's a great answer.
Because I don't want you hometown people to think I'm just saying that. He's real great, but he better stay down there with those midgets at 170 because he doesn't want any of this weight class.
All right, man. Thank you. Good luck against the Spider.
You've kind of made a career of, outworking guys and in the octagon and working harder than them. Would you be interested in being Jake Shields' first fight in UFC?
Wow.
Because he's the guy that I kind of see as similar to you as far as work ethic in the ring, in the octagon.
You know, they keep talking about how great Jake Shields is, and you should believe the hype. He is that good. I've worked out with him. I've felt him firsthand. Jake Shields is fantastic. He's also a welterweight, and I believe when he comes to the UFC, that's the weight class that he'll be in, and that's also my way of avoiding your question in case you didn't pick up on that. But I wish Jake Shields all the luck. I don't have a lot of friends in this business, and he is one of them. So I look forward to him coming, and he's going to be a hard guy to stop.